Shut up, compressor. Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Doogs Models, and this is the Flankoff. Okay, who's ready to look at engines? Now we're going to start with Kitty Hawk because, to be quite honest, it's a bit of an engineering horror show. And sometimes you have to go through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff. So it doesn't look quite that bad on the instructions. You know, you've got the fan stuff back here, you've got the flame holder. Then, the actual exhaust tunnel is two halves with details on the inside, which in my experience never works out well. Then, okay, this is nice. You've got the exterior pedals and the interior pedals, and there's separate pieces, so you get details there. Then these fit on here. Then you get to clap the wire these two pieces. This is a single piece. Why can't that be a thing that just... See, it's these choices that frustrate me about Kitty Hawk. There's no reason to do it the way they're doing it, but they do it anyway. So, looking at what these look like in real life, there we've got the fan thing going on. Zoom in a little bit here so we can have some fun. So we've got the fan, we've got the flame holder, yay. We've got the two different exhaust halves, which have, you know, detail on the inside. I'm not going to say it's great detail, but it's some detail. If you look at these little mounting nubs, they're literally nubs, they're not posts by any stretch. And what happens when we put them together, and you have to stick the flame holder inside because you just do, but what happens when you stick them together is we get this, and you can see right there, you know, there's still flash and whatnot that needs to be cleaned up, but no matter what you do, you're going to have some awesome trench-like seams in here that you're going to have to deal with, and that's not a fun place to clean up, especially when you have to install the flame holder in the middle of it. I don't know why they couldn't have made that a little bit, you know, smaller in diameter and had it plug onto the fan and have all of that come in from the back, but they don't, and so this is where we are. Now, on top of that, we've got the interior and exterior engine, exhaust pedals, and all that good stuff back here. The exterior is pretty nice looking. The pedals themselves seem a bit soft in definition, but it's not bad. The interior pedals, they're okay. That's the best I can say there. Now, something that's really annoying is these come with a little cross piece molded in, I'm assuming for structural support during the molding process. And instead of putting it back here where, you know, you can deal with it with a bit more room to get sprue cutters in there and all that, and hide it a bit when you go and actually install it, they put those things right in here and here, and it's just really fucking annoying. So all that goes together, and you know, this kind of sort of fits on here ish, and then you've got the clamshell pieces, which are these things. Look at that awesome bit of grip you're going to get in there. Just the shallowest of indents, and these little tabs having flashbacks to the Su-17. And they do this. And so, more fun to clean up right there where you don't want to, and there's really honestly no need to. Because this should, look at that. We could literally just carry this thing all the way down here if it was molded properly, but it's blah. Fortunately, these pieces don't matter at all, because when Kitty Hawk developed this kit, they had those and they just stuck straight back, and the Su-35's exhausts droop. So with the Chinese boxing, they saw fit to release a bit of resin goodness to go along with the engines, and I believe that one of the Russian aftermarket companies makes exhaust as well. These might be them for all I know, who knows. They might be copies of them. But with this, instead of having to do the whole clamshell bullshit, this literally just goes like that, right on top. Boom. Easy peasy. So this is a huge improvement over the standard kit. So if you're thinking about buying one of these, you know, everyone makes mistakes, but get the Chinese boxing, because these resin exhausts alone make it worth it. So that's that. One other frustrating thing, you'll note this little pin here. These have to be installed before you close the fuselage, which, what the fuck? Now, I would venture that cutting off this pin will allow you to probably just slide the damn thing in. And because this is all that matters from the outside, is this piece. And it's a butt join with the fuselage. One has to assume once you have everything in place, like so, you can take this and stick it on and everything will be happy. So I'm probably going to go that route because I really don't want to glue the engines in before the it just seems like a pain in the ass, especially on the Kitty Hawk kit, because you still have to deal with the tail boom. And I'd really like to deal with that without having to worry about fucking up the engines. Okay, so that is the Kitty Hawk. Now let's move on to the Great Wall kit. Okay, it's Great Wall time. So basically everywhere that the Kitty Hawk kit zigs into engineering what the fuckness, Great Wall zags in the opposite direction in ways that you made at first go, huh, what are they doing? But then when you start poking around and start playing with the actual parts, the genius reveals itself. So first let's look at a distinctly non-genius piece, which is the flame holder and the whole fan blade thing. So I'm going to zoom in again. Now I will say the detail on these parts is rather nice. If you look at the, I don't know, the spinner, whatever you want to call it, of the exhaust here, or of the fan, it's got detail. I mean, it's got a nice amount of detail, especially for the part that it is. So kudos to them. The flame holders are nice and delicate. You know, if you put these next to the chunkers that come in the Kitty Hawk kit, there's just no comparison. Even though size-wise for those inner rings, everything matches up. The outer ring is what's different. Now, looking at the instructions here, where we go? They tell you to put the flame holder onto the fan and then take all that and shove it into part D5 right here. So let's try that. So here we've got D5. Zoom back out just a little bit again. Now let's take the flame holder piece. You know, it fits on like so. That looks awesome. But then, oops, that does not fit. And I'm going to guess they don't want us just having this thing float around in space. So what's really going on here is they kind of messed up those instructions just a little bit. Instead of going from the back, the flame holder just gets dropped in from the front, like that. Voila. And then check that out. Everything looks nice and beautiful back in the hole. And because this is a single piece and not two halves, you have uninterrupted nice detail on the inside there, which is nice. Now, how does Great Wall approach doing the whole drooping thing? Well, this is actually pretty ingenious. Set that over here. We get this part, and to this part we get, let's see here. These still need to be cleaned up, but essentially what you do is you come in and these different exhaust pedals essentially form like a, you know, ring around the rosy. And shut up, compressor. So they form this nice little ring. We have happy exhaust time. Again, I haven't cleaned up the inside, the interfaces, so it's a bit messy, but you get the idea, right? And then the one thing I will note is that these are missing some of the rivet detail on the pedals that the Kitty Hawk kit has, but the sort of boundary between the outside and the inside is very well done, and the inside's a bit of a letdown. Anyway, those are the pedals. This is where the magic comes in, though. You take this piece, you kind of kick out those guys right now, and what happens is this comes down over this, and I'm not going to push too far because I want to, be able to take it off again. But this is essentially almost like a ball joint. Not entirely, but it's close. And if I push further, it would seat in a lot more firmly, but I could still rotate it where it needs to go. Now, you take that, you take, these different exhaust pedals, and then this piece that goes over and just sits back here. So basically that is how they work the exhaust. And because of the way that it's designed, you can take it to different angles, and you can really dial it in the way you want, which is pretty cool. So it's an interesting fix. I honestly think that just a straightforward resin piece is probably preferable, but definitely props to Great Wall for taking this approach and giving us something a bit different. Now, before I close out this piece, I want to note one last little piece of you have to be kidding me. So we've looked at this rather nice resin piece from Kitty Hawk. What we have not looked at is how it comes originally, which is like this. Nice little pour stub. You're not dealing with too much stuff there, except for one thing. These exhausts droop down like that. So where should we put the pour stub? How about right on the fucking top, where it will be most prominent? That's like having resin tires and putting the pour stub on the top of the wheel. Like, put it down here. Holy shit. So anyway, that's where we stand with the 4 engines from the 2 kits. And overall, I have to say that Great Wall definitely takes this round. Kitty Hawk, literally the only saving grace they have going on is these resin cans. That is it. Everything else about it is a shit show. So, yeah.